Hey math people, in this video we're going to be looking at this example. When you're required to graph a function with no clues, as in like this guy you'll see in a second, we always want to try to find the vertex first. All right, so keep that in mind when we're working on this. A model rocket is launched from ground level. Its height meters above the ground is a function of time, and they're giving us this beautiful equation. Okay, so with questions like this, it's really hard to know anything about this graph without looking at it. So we always need a picture, and to get we need a picture, and so to get a picture, we're going to graph it on our calculators. So lucky for us, I've got my calculator right here. So I'll open up a new document and I'm going to get to graphing. So I'm going to graph this function. Be careful because your calculator does not understand h and t's, but it understands x's here. So when I type in negative 4.9, I'm not going to write t squared, I'm going to write x squared. Plus 68.6x. All right, here's this graph. I know it's going to be a parabola because I've got that x squared. It is a degree 2. It does not look like a parabola right now. So one of two options. Either I have to change my window or I typed something in wrong. It looks like it's typed in correctly. So I will either trace this or look at the table. So let me just show you. If you look at the table, here are some values. I'm going to start at 0 because this is talking about t stands for time. In this case, that's going to be x. So time would go from 0 on up. So look at how high these numbers are going, 117, 161. And if I keep scrolling, I can see how high this quadratic's going. Oh, and I can also kind of see it went up to 240, and then it started to shoot back down. Do you see that? So at 7, it's reaching its maximum, and it looks like it's around 240. This gives me a nice educated glimpse into what this would look like. So I don't need negative 10. I'll just center it at negative 5. Remember, if I press tab twice, it's going to bring me up here. It has to go to at least 240, my y values. I'll pick 250. Press tab again, that will take me over here. I saw the center was at 7, which means I should be able to get my full picture if I go over to 14. Let's see what we got here. Oh my gosh, look at how much more beautiful this is than what we had. So do you see how looking at the table really can tell us stuff if we look for symmetry? The other way we could have found this vertex, menu, analyze graph, menu trace, graph trace, and you can lurk about. And notice I did not do my trace step, so it's counting by 0.1s. I should have done trace step, but let's see. When it takes me to, did you see how it highlights that maximum? So the maximum is in fact at 7,240, okay? And we can see it better in the table. That there's actually, it's 240.1. So what would be the maximum height to the nearest meter attained by the model? Well, we just found that to be 240 meters. Okay, so the next question is, when does it land back on the ground? So when you are doing questions like this, it's always nice to say, hey, what is represented by x and what's represented by y here, because this is helpful. X in this case is time, and y in this case is my height. So it's saying, when does it land on the ground? Think about what it's saying. When you're landing on the ground, that means that my height has to be 0. So what I need to figure out are the times, okay? So if it's on the ground, my height is 0. What time is that happening at? Well, we know it's starting at 0, 0. And so what I'm looking for is when it lands back down, which we already knew based on looking at the graph at 14 seconds. So one thing to get out of this lesson that we just did together as a little family is when you're looking at a graph or looking at an equation and it's in context, you always want to look at a picture. Another important thing that we're going to want to see on every question you do when it's talking about context is making a little mini table like what I'm highlighting here. And I'm sorry, these colors are really offensive. They don't match. But What is my X value? What is my Y value? And talk about what it is in context. This will help you to answer these questions. All right, until next time. See you later, alligator.